Hi guys, before I get started I want to apologize for the late upload on my last video. My fantastic new editing software, Cyberlink Powerdirector 12, was having a rendering issue that happened to be simply solved after a long conversation with tech support that lasted multiple days because it's very slow. And just a reinstallation of some graphics drivers, but long story short, problem solved! So, now let's get going. When it comes to WE Day and this whole culture in general, I have a slightly different perspective than the others. At school, I'm on the associated student body, but I'm the technology director, which means that I do a combination of social media and AV work. The former made me want to really get involved with this special program with Microsoft for WE Day. It's called Youthspark. Basically, the whole point is to empower young people to change the world, better their lives, and the lives of others through technology. As a title sponsor of WE Day California and Seattle, Microsoft had an outreach program called the Youthspark Reporters. The premise is that they enlist a team of about 70 high schoolers to act as the official social media correspondents for the event. I got involved with this program through Free the Children, who came to my school for a special assembly with Mark Kielberger. I was working on the AV equipment at the time, and as such, I was working with them, where I inquired about the Youthspark program. Long story short, they hooked me up with the people at Microsoft, I filled out a few online forms, and bada bing, bada boom, I was a Youthspark reporter. When it came to the WE Day event, we were each given a Microsoft device, in my case a Surface, that we'd be using for tweeting and Facebooking and Instagramming during the event. Hell, we even did some Redditing, Tumbling, Vining, Pinteresting, you name it, we were on it, and that's what we did for the whole day. They put us in a special section in the bowl off to the side so that we could have Wi-Fi. You can see it right here from Peyton's video. Before we get to the actual event, I would like to mention that I went to WE Day with my school last year and sat in the front row, which was amazing. I got pictures like this and this, especially during the mob in which Macklemore and Ryan Lewis came on, which of course got kind of crazy when you consider the fact that there were 15,000 teenagers in the room, half of which or more were female, and this was Seattle. Just put that one into your head for a few minutes and let it settle in. Unfortunately, my camera died before then, so I didn't get any good pictures, but take my word for it, it was chaos. Granted, that experience wasn't as great as it might sound, and while the first row is very glamorous and everything, it doesn't give you a very good view of the speakers, which was what I came there for. So this year, I was actually glad that we were in the bowl because it gave us a slightly elevated view, eye level with the speakers, so we could see just as well as anybody else in the entire arena, and ultimately got better pictures for Instagram and a better WE Day experience. So as for my reaction, the best way to look at it is to just go through my Twitter feed. I mean, that's what I was doing for the whole day, so let's take a look. Now, Amber and Peyton already gave you their responses, and Hannah and Nick surely wish they were there, but what did I take out of it? Well, I wasn't inspired to start a foundation like Peyton. I was inspired nonetheless. Besides being convinced that I actually really like Windows 8, or that I want to go back again next year, WE Day inspires me to keep going. Not in the sense of simple willpower, but in just being me. Especially in the context of school, WE Day inspired me to not listen to others when it comes to my leadership. And I'm not talking about not listening to people and what you should do for them, but I'm talking about what it means to be a leader. To quote Craig Kielberger at WE Day, they might even call you a dreamer, but you need to take those labels and wear them with pride. For me, those labels can be anything really. I've been called close-minded, optimistic, dreamer, idealist, the list goes on, but what really matters is what I do with those labels. Even my mentor might say my career goals are idealistic, but WE Day has given me the power to say, I disagree. It's been said time in and time out that if you really put your mind to something, anything is possible. Now, we can't defy the laws of physics, but you get what I'm saying. Things like us landing a man on the moon just 10 years after we set out to do it. Just 65 years after we first took to the skies. If that does not blow your mind, to quote Solomon Kahn, then you have no emotion. So I think that I can change the political climate of this country. Granted, we'll leave that for another video. There's a reason I'm ecstatic about getting an opportunity to intern at Planetary Resources, a company my mentor called too early. You know what? They're not too early. They're ahead of the game. And we'll save that one for another video too. My point is that the intent of We Day is not to change the world as a whole at first. It's to change those 15,000 lives inside of that arena, who will then go out and change the world. We throw around the phrase life-changing all the time, but what it really means is something significant that will impact the way we live our lives. Most importantly, it will give you the potential to do that same thing to someone else, furthering the cycle of opportunity. We talked in leadership class last year about the butterfly effect, because if one life influences another, potentially both lives are changed. If one life influences another, potentially the whole world is changed. We can see that with Iqbal Messiah and how he impacted Craig Kielburger, starting this entire thing that was Free the Children. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. What it really makes us think about are the what-ifs. What if 2 Canadian kids can end child labor? What if a 16-year-old can eventually open up an autism awareness center? What if a 15-year-old can then change the political climate of the United States of America by optimizing the way that politics and technology work together? What if? I made a post on Reddit last year after the first We Day Seattle in which I posted a bunch of pictures from my experience. This one person commented saying that they thought, and I quote, "We Day is the biggest waste of time and money I have ever seen." Just let that one sink in for a second. They obviously do not understand We Day at all, because it's not what happens in that room. It's about 2 other things. It's about what happened in order to get to that room. The one act of global and one act of local citizenship that we, each and every one of us, had to do in order to get to We Day. But also it's about inspiring the future. It's about changing the world and the next step on that journey. It's what happens after We Day. The year of charity events, the year of changing the world that comes about when you have 15,000 people energized about doing something important. And it doesn't just last a year, it lasts a lifetime. Because we are inspiring the next generation of global citizens. So what is We Day all about? Edward Norton said that we are the most powerful generation in human history. We Day is about proving him right.